The FBI is the most sophisticated law enforcement agency in the world, pursuing the most dangerous criminals. In Florida, a 9-year-old girl vanishes from her home in the middle of the night.
Hoping to God that she's just playing and hiding from you.
The Bureau mobilizes.
When children go missing out of the home, generally it's somebody that knows the child well.
Suspicion falls on those closest to the young girl, but agents have no idea just how close or how cruel her abductor might be.
I just was speechless over it all. I was numb.
The third grader's life may depend on how fast they can solve the puzzle of who took her and why.
Someone's life is laying in your hands. If you don't find them, they're going to die. Period.
FBI. Criminal Pursuit. Near the tranquil waters of Florida's Gulf Coast and 45 miles north of Tampa is the laid-back village of Homosassa. It's a great place if you want to disappear off the radar.
It was such a slow pace that there was no pace. It seemed like the perfect place to come and be close to my parents again.
In 2004, Mark Lunsford, a single dad, moves in with his parents, Archie and Ruth, to their home on Sonata Street. It's a perfect place to bring up his 9-year-old daughter, Jessica, who he's raised since birth. A happy, sweet girl everyone calls Jessie.
I took care of her from the time she was born. I wouldn't have traded Jessie for a pot of gold. She was my pot of gold. I can't explain how deep I felt towards Jessie, and Jessie felt the same way. And her with her daddy, they were inseparable.
She liked to go to church. She liked to hang out with her little friends. And then, but she liked to spend a lot of time with her dad, whether we were riding motorcycles, operating heavy equipment.
Jessie adapts well to life in Florida. The busy 9-year-old even attends a youth group at her Baptist church every Wednesday night. On February 24th, 2005, Sharon Armstrong, a family friend, picks Jessie up after church, like she's been doing for the past year.
From the moment we pulled out the driveway, they were singing. They were practicing for a little play they were going to do. They were playing and running around and doing flips and stuff at church. And then I said, come on, Jessie, we got to go home, got to go to school tomorrow.
Sharon drives Jessie and another young girl home. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. By all accounts, it's a typical Wednesday night.
So she comes home and she's herself, and she's showing me how she does her calisthenics on the couch.
Around 10 p.m., Jessica gets tucked into bed.
And she'd say, Grandma, I'm ready to go to bed. And so I'd go in there with her to put her to bed.
Half an hour later, Mark heads to his girlfriend's just 3 miles away. It's a quiet evening. Nothing stirs in the Lunsford household. But by the following morning, life is forever changed for the Lunsford family. When Mark arrives home, he senses something is off.
I reached up and stuck my key in the door. I go into the house and her alarm is going off. So I opened her door and I went in her room and she wasn't there, and I got a big lump in my throat, and I woke my parents up. I thought maybe she was in bed with them.
Mom, where's Jessie?
Well, Mark hollered, Mom, where's Jessie? And I said, she's in bed. No, she's not.
You know, everybody's like confused. My parents are confused. I'm confused. You know, there's no understanding of what the hell's going on.
Ruth calls for help.
I jumped up immediately.
Call him and just tell him she's missing, and I'm looking for her.
He said, call 911, and I ran in here and got the phone, and that's what I done.
Jesse!
Emergency? Yes, that child missing. How old's the child? 9. She's 9 years old? Yeah. Okay. What was she last seen in?
Did she run away? I said, no, she would never run away. I said, she's gone. She's not here. I need help.
Jesse!
While dispatch notifies patrol, Mark frantically searches for his missing daughter.
You know, you're hoping to God that she's just playing and hiding from you. But when you're outside screaming for her,
Jesse!
trying to understand what could have possibly happened to her, where she just didn't vanish.
You're in so much shock, you don't know what's going through your mind. You don't know what to say. You don't know what to do.
Citrus County Sheriffs dispatch Deputy Juan Santiago to the Lunsford home.
437 Citrus. If you will show me to 97 at the Sonata address.
He can tell right away it looks bad.
The grandmother, she was just very, very concerned. She had that look of just being so worried.
He surveys the home, looking for potential clues.
I didn't see any footprints around the residence. I did not notice any pry marks. I did not notice any signs of struggle, even when I searched the girl's room.
Jessica's room looks undisturbed. Her clothes for the next day are still laid out. Her shoes sit untouched by her chair. The only thing missing, her prized purple dolphin, a stuffed animal her father won for her at the state fair.
I didn't believe this young girl just got up and walked away in the middle of the night.
The worried deputy alerts his supervisor.
My words exactly was, I said, Ray, this doesn't look good.
He is ordered to seal off the Lunsford house, while other deputies locate Mark.
The 2 sheriff deputies pulled up next to me and asked me to get in the car, and I told them I was looking for my daughter. And you know, they said, we need you to get in the car. So I got in the car and they took me back to the house.
Meanwhile, Sheriff's Detective Gary Atchison gets a call he's answered many times. A missing child.
I took it nonchalant right off the bat, going, she's around here somewhere. She went to her friend's house, or she's around here hiding in the house. We're gonna find out what happened.
But it quickly becomes apparent this is not routine. Knowing time is of the essence, a call goes out to the FBI. Special Agent Scott Boland has just finished a child abduction case where there was a happy ending. He's hoping to help bring about a similar result in this case.
What we brought was, more than anything, a willingness to do anything we could to help find Jessica, because we had just gone through it.
The last time Jessica is seen alive is 10 p.m. But investigators are baffled by 2 things. There is no sign of a struggle in Jessica's bedroom, and neither the family nor the family dog heard anything during the night. Or so they say.
It just didn't look nothing like a burglary, certainly didn't look nothing like a murder scene, nothing like an abducted scene.
Citrus County Sheriff Jeff Dawsey is in charge of the investigation. He immediately focuses on something unusual in Jessica's bedroom.
The only thing that was out of place was on the pillowcase. And it wasn't this, it was probably a half of my fingernail. It was a speck of dirt, which was the only thing out of place in the whole bedroom.
Agents take note that Mark Lunsford works as a truck driver for a landscaping company. No obvious signs of a struggle could mean Jessie may have left of her own free will with someone she knew.
I think they went on the only thing that they really could go on. And that is, the biggest part of these crimes are committed by someone you know. That little girl did not just vanish out of that bed.
Authorities are on a difficult hunt for a little girl.
Start off down this street and we come over here.
And a massive search is underway.
Right?
All right.
You want to start spreading out trying to find her, because the more time that goes on, the worse that it is.
But before stranger abduction theories can come into play, investigators know they must eliminate suspects from within the home.
It's not like she was walking home from school or, you know, down the street playing. She was taken out of the house. So I think whenever you open up the book of investigating a child abduction, the first thing you do is look at the family.
When a child goes missing from a location, your ground zero point is where you start your investigation.
Ground zero is the Lunsford home, and where the FBI sets up their mobile command center to keep watch on their most likely suspects, the Lunsford family.
You have to consider them as possibilities because they have care, custody, and control over the 9-year-old girl. And in this case, things didn't stack up well. They didn't look right.
Agents bluntly accuse Mark of being involved.
When they start asking questions and they start pointing fingers and they start wanting answers, then you start feeling like, wow, they think I did something wrong. I get a little angry, and they don't care if you get angry because they want to know the answers. I got a job to do, find your daughter.
I'm working for Jessica right now. I don't know who is in this investigation and who is out of this investigation.
While investigators search for Jessie and grill her family for answers, they get word a body's been found floating in a lake 75 miles away. They race to the scene. Everyone fears the missing girl has been found, and there's a killer at large. It's only been hours since 9-year-old Jessica Lunsford disappeared from her bed, and sheriff's deputies fear the worst. A body of a female is found in Hillsborough County, 75 miles away. It's a tense few hours before word finally comes. Investigators have every reason to believe the dead girl is Jessica. Most child abduction scenarios come to a tragic end. Sheriff Dawsey personally informs Mark of the grisly discovery.
He came to me when they found the body, and he said, Mark, I wanted to tell you first, we did find a body. It's not your little girl.
That's definitely not her. The unfortunate victim turns out to be an adult, the victim of an unrelated crime.
That's the roller coaster, man, and there's nobody to prepare you for that.
There is now renewed hope that Jessica may still be alive. Sheriff Dawsey launches a 5-prong investigation to locate missing Jessica Lunsford. It includes search and rescue and identifying suspects.
It should never become strictly tunnel vision. You always have to start from the in and work out, and then being the immediate family, and then to work out from there.
With little time to waste, they work their best suspects, Jessica's family.
You had a father that was not in the home at the time, and other than him saying at 5:45 she wasn't there, and then one grandfather saying at 10:30 when he went to bed she was there.
Mark and his father, Archie, voluntarily go to the Citrus County Sheriff's Office. Investigators separate them and lean on them hard.
You have to dig up people's dirty little secrets. You know, you're privileged to that information, and you have to question them about it.
They focus first on Jessica's father. They discover Mark has an alibi, but they also learn he faced domestic violence charges years ago. Though charges were dismissed, it piques their interest. So Mark agrees to a lie detector test. Veteran FBI polygraph examiner, Special Agent Terry Wetmore, an expert in detecting lies, arrives at the sheriff's office to administer the exam.
The heart of the test is either going to be, did you take the child or do you know where the child is now? One of the readings we get is galvanic skin response, which is sweat activity on the skin. He had virtually no response, which was a unique physical characteristic for an individual.
Are you telling the truth?
Yes.
While there's no obvious signs of deception, Mark's test comes back inconclusive. He is not off the hot seat yet.
You want the polygrapher to walk out and say he's lying or he's telling you the truth, and that's not always how it goes.
And you get frustrated because you're like, you know, why don't you guys move on to something else, man? My parents didn't do this and I didn't do it. Well, here we go again, you know, that's not good enough.
But agents need to rule out every family member, including Jessica's grandfather.
The obvious thing that made him focus our attention on him to an extent was the fact that he was there. And we couldn't independently verify if he had gotten up and left at any point in the night.
Archie did say he let the dog out in the middle of the night.
And we thought at that time, what else did you do when you got up and let the dog out? You know, did you check on Jessica?
They grill Archie for 6 hours.
Are you sure that you didn't do something to Jesse that you're ashamed of? Don't you feel like you ought to tell us about it? And this goes on over and over and over. And I couldn't take it anymore.
But Archie never wavers from his story.
Because it never did happen.
They apply more pressure, and Archie finally admits to a past.
Archie had been arrested some years back in reference to the assault of a young lady.
I have got a temper.
The charges go back 50 years and include a pre-kidnapping dispute.
He was telling them the truth and, you know, about things, about his life, because he didn't have nothing to hide. Turned into making him look suspicious.
Even though the charges had been dropped, investigators believe they're on to something.
They came to me and said that they didn't feel like he had any grief, that he didn't feel bad about, you know, about your daughter missing, and that they think that he had something to do with it.
Detectives lie to Mark and tell him they've collected Jessica's blood from Archie's underwear.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to elicit responses and reactions out of him to find out if there is something that we're not being told.
I was furious.
This don't make any sense.
It changed how I was thinking. You're making it appear to me that my father had something to do with this.
Mark confronts his father.
They want me to ask you if you know where Jesse's at. I'm sorry, Dad. I knew you promised me. No, just forgive me. That I have to ask you. He was crying. They broke him down, and he said, Daddy, if you know anything about where Jesse's at, said, please tell him. And there was nothing I could tell him.
Archie denies any involvement.
That's all I keep telling him. I just want to find Jesse. It really broke my heart to think that they had broke him down to where he would even think that his father would do something to harm that child. And that hurt. That really hurt.
It's a tactic, okay? They're not trying to lie to you and hurt you. So they're gonna do whatever they gotta do and say whatever they gotta say to get you to tell the truth. They're trying to find out the truth. The only person that can tell them the truth is Jessie. She's the only one. And she's not there to tell them.
To quell all the suspicion and prove his innocence, Archie also volunteers to take a lie detector test.
Again, an inconclusive test with him, the same as Mark, which now I was frustrated.
There were no red flags. Nothing stood out to us that these guys were lying to us. An inconclusive test is a nebulous thing.
Shifting gears away from Mark and Archie, FBI agents know it's not uncommon for estranged parents to kidnap their own children.
This girl was very shy in certain ways and very private. Her clothes that she was going to wear was still staying there undisturbed, which struck me that this could be something. Could be a parental abduction.
One of my first questions when I got down there was, okay, where's Mom? And have we talked to her yet?
Mark was awarded sole custody of Jessica after his wife walked out on them 8 years ago.
When her mom left, and I was the one to take care of her, which was fine with me, because even while we all lived together, I was taking care of her most of the time, you know, because that was my choice.
Perhaps now she wants her daughter Jessie back. Mark has since lost touch with his ex-wife. So the Bureau mobilizes to locate Jessie's mom. Her last known address is in Ohio. By midday, the Lunsford home is surrounded by police and a growing shrine dedicated to a missing girl.
The whole front of our yard up there where the gate is, that was laid out with flowers and with teddy bears. And so many people knew Jessie, you know, from the church and from her school.
The neighborhood swarms with volunteer search units.
God, please help us find Jessie today. And then you're driving down the road and you're looking both every way.
And I'd sit here, and at that time there was a lot of woods across the road. And I would say, come on, Jessie, walk out of them woods. It was horrifying. I knew that she did not run away. She was not that type.
People will say, well, I'd have done this or I'd have done that. And, you know, I got news for you. There is no plan for this. You have not planned your life for something like this to happen.
Move down just another couple steps each.
Police turn over every rock in an exhaustive neighborhood canvass, hoping to find a lead to Jessie's disappearance. They know time is working against them.
Everybody that knows in dealing with children abductions that the first 3 hours are critical, and we were already behind. It was extremely frustrating.
Agents suddenly get a break in the case. They finally locate Jessica's mother in Cincinnati and track her down for questioning. Her mother says she hasn't seen Jessie in years and provides what appears to be a solid alibi.
We've got receipts, we've got work records, we've got time in, time out. We could show that she by herself was not down here.
It's almost 24 hours since Jessica Lunsford disappeared from her home, and there is no trace of her.
How did she get out of this bed and out of this house with nobody knowing?
Then, the town holds a candlelight vigil in hopes of her safe return. Everyone is there, from the Lunsford family to the national media. Then, Jessica's mother re-emerges as a possible suspect. When word comes, Jessie's been sighted in Ohio, only 40 miles from where her mother lives. They need to track down the tip, and fast. It's days since little Jessica Lunsford disappeared from her bed in the middle of the night, and investigators get a big break in the case. A girl resembling Jessica is seen in Ohio, a short distance from her mother's house.
I get a phone call from my captain saying we have a sighting of Jessica in Ohio. It was done by a retired law enforcement officer. And this is how you can go on emotional highs.
A retired cop says he saw a girl resembling Jessica with a suspicious man who's driving a car with Florida tags.
The tag was registered to Inverness with a girl that looks just like Jessica. And I believe they were less than 40 miles from the mom's house. Immediately, the FBI responded, snatched the young girl up, out the back door, held everybody in abeyance, and my understanding was initially we had clarification that it was her.
Jessica Lunsford has been safely recovered, they think.
And then later on, because she looked so much like her, found it not to be her.
I do clearly remember the guys calling me late at night, around 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night, and saying, hey, we're here, it's not her, everything's fine, this house is legitimate.
That was one of the highs, and then crashing low.
The frustration, you know, just mounted constantly of maybe getting a lead and then it'd turn, you know, and then it'd turn into be nothing, you know, or getting some hope or finding something and it'd turn out to be nothing.
Investigators broadened their scope past immediate family members. They alibied Jessica's friends, neighbors, even people at her church.
We had to determine who was at the church that night that knew that she had gone home at that time.
He asked me many questions and other people at the church and our pastor, and they questioned everybody. Well, they wanted to find her as much as we wanted to find her.
Detective Atchison takes another look at the crime scene. Jessica's tiny bedroom in her grandmother's house.
Ruth Lunsford was the strength of the family. She was very meticulous in telling me what was going on and telling me about Jessica. And she never really cried until right at the end. She looked at me and she just says, I need you to find her. You know, I have to have her.
Ruth points out something she finds amiss.
I said, that screen has been cut. And that's how he tried to get in the sliding door.
That is what I refer to as a burglar cut, where they cut an L-shaped screen and put their hands through the screen and unlock the door on the inside.
The door hasn't been opened because it's secured by a broom handle, but it gives detectives a new avenue of suspects, burglars.
I went to our crime analysis unit. I asked them to pull up every known burglar suspect in that area.
Police know that many burglaries are committed for sexual purposes.
A lot of convicted burglars, there's more to the story about what they were doing inside the house that they were convicted of entering.
As investigators look into a possible burglar scenario, Mark keeps up the heat with daily press conferences, pleading for help.
Everybody was doing everything they could to help me find my little girl. Every day I'd get on TV and say, thank you. Can you help me find my little girl?
It's almost like this whole town was one family searching for this one child, and how everybody cared. We're going to do all we can do to find her.
Just get them to the public, please.
The Citrus County Sheriff calls in special search dogs in an effort to find Jessica's trail.
They would, they'd pick up her scent in the yard, they'd come up to the road and they'd stop. And there was no answer, so it made them feel like, well, maybe she was taken away in a vehicle.
That prompts agents and investigators to tap another possible source of leads: registered sex offenders. There are about 50 in the zip codes around Jessica's home. They start contacting offenders inside a half-mile radius of Jessica's house.
We went and visited all the registered sex offenders that fell within that half-mile circle, and then you expand it out to a mile, and then a mile and a half.
When all sex offenders within a half-mile of Jessica's house have been questioned, detectives spread out to the next band.
We knew we were already behind the 8 ball, so we had hours. And every hour that ticks, you realize the less likelihood of recovering Jessica alive.
The FBI and deputies re-canvassed the Lunsford neighborhood. They noticed a nearby rental home has a lot of activity.
You know, they was drug users and, and crack cocaine smokers. And I'm not sure any of them had a job or did anything. I said, well, they're selling drugs. And I said, well, let's just go over there and mess with them and find out what they're doing. So I said, we're here looking for a 9-year-old little girl. She said, yeah, we know all about it. They was here yesterday and searched.
The team continues to widen the circle for registered sex offenders in the area.
I said, I want everybody in the county accounted for. It didn't matter where you lived.
Detectives have no solid leads as to where Jessica may be. And it's not only tearing everyone apart, it's wearing them down.
Jessica became, if not your child, she became your reason for going to work at that point in time.
You're just so numb over it all that you can't think straight. But I knew in my heart that there was a higher power and that he could get us through it.
The heartbroken Lunsford family continues to be hopeful that Jessie will be found soon. Mark devotes all his energy to keep Jessie's face in the public mind, with the FBI's blessing.
I said, look, man, I'm gonna go out and put out flyers for my daughter. And they were like, yeah, no problem, go ahead. And so that's what I did. I put out a lot of flyers, just doing all I could.
Finally, the publicity pays off. A man with a girl matching Jessica's description is seen at a nearby convenience store. And the FBI has the surveillance footage.
They wanted me to see this clip that they'd gotten from a store.
The girl is wearing a pink shirt and jeans.
It looked so much like her, it was like overwhelming, It was like, wow, they're gonna find her, they're gonna find her.
It's been days since 9-year-old Jessica Lunsford vanished from her home.
Jesse!
And finally, the FBI has a viable lead. The Bureau has recovered surveillance tape of a girl seen at a nearby convenience store who strongly resembles Jessica. Agents ask Mark to screen the tape to see if he can identify his daughter. But as Mark watches the girl choose a bag of onion ring snacks, he knows it's something Jessica would not do.
That's not her. I knew it wasn't her. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, I'm positive. It's not my little girl.
His hopes are dashed in just seconds.
It was like, oh my God, this is wonderful. And then everything went back to hell.
There's going to be a lot of ups and downs where you think you got it figured out and solved, and within 3 hours, you're going to be crashing because it didn't turn out the way you thought it was going to turn out, or we were completely wrong, and now we just need to refocus and keep moving forward.
I just ask everybody to look. That's really what I can ask for, look.
The sheriff, speaking to the news media, says no one has been ruled out as a possible suspect.
It was very difficult to clear the family. Just about the time you would start leading yourself away from them, something would happen that would bring you right back to it.
The last member of the Lunsford family to take a lie detector test is the woman who is closest to Jessica.
Is Jessica afraid of Archie?
The results stun everybody, including Ruth.
She was not showing me that she was responsible. However, she still did not pass the test.
No.
Yes or no?
No. I was so upset, and my doctor says, of course you would have failed. You're under stress. He said, you can't handle that, Ruthie.
But agents wonder if Ruth is merely covering for someone.
We had to sit down and explain to Ruth that maybe her view of the family situation, her perspective on what was going on wasn't as clear as she thought it was. I understand all that. I know all that. I didn't do it, and Archie didn't do it, and Mark didn't do it. You're not going to convince me otherwise.
There was a point where I thought, well, it's never going to end. But my concern was, where is she?
A week into the investigation, the sheriff decides to halt search efforts to find Jessica and instead focus on suspects.
That is the point in time when most of the case agents and the detectives and the lead investigators sit back and go, is this going cold? Are we going to figure out what happened here? Are we going to find her?
They expand the search of registered sex offenders to a 3-mile radius, a time-consuming process.
Going to their house and speaking with them and getting a good interview, searching their homes.
Authorities are able to locate everyone on their list, except one, a man named John Cooey.
John Cooey was registered because he had a little girl play with his privates and was arrested for that and sent to jail and come out and had to register.
The trailer at his registered address is abandoned.
John Cooey's home was empty when we got there. There was nothing there. There was no forwarding address. He was a vagabond. He would just bounce around.
Another detective spoke up and goes, well, I know his sister. I've arrested her, and she lives right across the street from the Lunsford home.
The bells go off pretty quickly that, okay, now we have a registered sex offender that was within 150 yards of Jessica's residence that we haven't located yet, and we need to locate him.
Investigators return to the nearby rental home, where it turns out John Cooey has been living. Things unravel quickly.
Cooey was gone, and they explained that Cooey had taken off, and he'd taken off and went to Savannah.
Agents learn Cooey left only days after Jesse's disappearance.
I know we checked all those houses. You know, you look back at the canvas and you say, we went in every one of these houses. You know, why did we not know who he was?
Nobody ever saw this guy. He would only come at nighttime, and he would stalk every house. He knew where every child in that neighborhood was.
You're looking right at it every morning. As soon as you go in the living room, you look out the front room, living room, there's that trailer, right there.
And I had no idea that there was a person in the neighborhood like that. I had no idea, neither did anybody else.
You get your hopes up as an investigator and as a detective. We're about to break this one. This is going to finish it. We'll find out what happened, and we'll have our answers pretty soon.
There's nothing to tie John Cooey to Jesse's disappearance. But a look at John Cooey's predatory pattern chills investigators. Cooey was convicted of a crime similar to Jessica's abduction. A jury sentenced him to 10 years, but he was out in less than 2.
John Cooey was arrested for burglary. The elements of this crime was he walked into a home, went into a girl's bedroom, put his hand on her mouth, and kissed her, and then let her go.
When I first heard about Cooey and what he had done and what his past was, that was definitely a moment in time where that roller coaster was going up quickly. You were coming to the pinnacle. There was something good here.
Police know Cooey got off a bus in Savannah a few days ago, but they have no idea where he might be. The FBI alerts Georgia police to be on the lookout for John Cooey.
Hey, buddy.
He's spotted and willingly goes to the police station.
He was a little nervous, you could tell, but he wasn't overly nervous. Didn't have any contact, but he had heard about the case, and he knew because he was a sex offender that they would want to talk to him.
Without a warrant, investigators have to release Cooey. But they're not about to let him off the hook. Not satisfied, detectives convince Cooey's sister to allow a search of her trailer. In Cooey's Florida bedroom, they find a bloody mattress. 2 weeks after Jesse's disappearance, investigators head to Savannah, hoping to find John Cooey.
You knew that you had to go find him and see what he was all about. But it wasn't, we didn't have enough on him at the time to say, this is our guy.
We were feeling pretty good going up there that if we could get our hands on him, we might have something. And we knew we were going to be able to keep our hands on him.
It's a gruesome find that hints at Jesse's terrible fate and may implicate John Cooey as her abductor. Now, investigators need to track him down and bring this sexual predator to justice. 3 weeks after the abduction of Jessica Lunsford, investigators are on the hunt for John Cooey, a violent sex offender possibly linked to the young girl's disappearance. Citrus County Sheriff Jeff Dawsey releases Cooey's name and photo to the national media.
I'm saying John Cooey's a person of interest. I want to either rule him in or rule him out, and I got to find him.
Early the next morning, an alert citizen spots Cooey in nearby Augusta, Georgia, walking toward the bus station.
And she rolled up on him and asked him what his name was, and he said John Cooey.
She immediately notifies authorities.
What's your name?
And Cooey's quickly detained. Florida investigators race to Augusta for a face-to-face with John Cooey.
He was very nonchalant. You know, he had a raspy voice. Yeah, I know why you guys are here.
But Cooey convinces investigators he's not responsible for Jessica's kidnapping.
I said, if you did this for the sake of you, me, our community, and this whole world, you need to tell me about this. And he looked at me at one time, and he turned around and he goes, gosh, you're about to make me tell you I did it, and I didn't.
At the end of the day, we were of the collective opinion that he probably didn't have anything to do with Jessica being gone.
Just so they can move on, they ask Cooey to take a polygraph, and he agrees.
He needs to be polygraphed. He's willing to be polygraphed. We'll polygraph him, but we need to get back to Florida because he probably didn't have anything to do with Jessica.
Yes. Agent Wetmore spends 2 hours testing Cooey.
Have you ever talked to Jessica?
Yes. But the results surprise everyone.
After it was done, I told Mr. Cooey he had failed the test and that I knew that he had taken Jessica. I believe he said, all right, I did it. I took her.
Oh, yeah.
Stand up.
I didn't mean to
stand up. Turn around.
I didn't mean to kill her. I just put her in a bag.
Of course, your heart drops into your stomach, you know, and you start having an array of thoughts and everything. I can remember that I had to concentrate on keeping my composure in front of him, you know, I had to concentrate on doing my job right.
Cooey tells detectives he watched Jessica a few days before, playing in the yard.
He said he would see Jessica riding up and down the road there on her bicycle and knew that she had a little dog and stuff, and he would see her out there.
Cooey says in a drug-induced haze, he walked into the Lunsford home through the back door, intent on getting Jessica.
And he come through that door. Now he's going back this way and over this way and into her room. How he done that and her not realize anything, we'll never know.
Come on. Come on.
Cooey told Jessica he was going to take her to her father.
I'll come take you to see your daddy.
We believe that when he got her out of the bed, his glove did glance the pillow of where Jessica slept and left a mark.
Cooey says he carried Jessica across the street to his sister's trailer. He tells investigators he raped Jessica in his room and kept her tied up in his closet. Cooey claims he was spooked when investigators and dogs swarmed the neighborhood.
She asked if she could go home, and he promised that she would go home if she would step in these bags, which she did. He then tied those bags around her, put her over his shoulder, carried her out the door to a grave, put her in that grave, buried her, and then stood on it as she tried to stand up.
Finally, he tells investigators where to find her.
2 cop cars come flying down the road. They immediately jumped out of their vehicles and taped off that house, the whole yard, the whole big area. And at that moment, I knew where my little girl was.
Police rope off the trailer Cooey lived in and begin digging right beside the back steps, only 150 yards from Jesse's bedroom window.
I stood in the driveway over there across the street next to the house, and I watched them pull the dirt off my little girl with their hands and pull her out of the ground in a trash bag. And then I walked away.
She was buried in a 4-foot grave, wrapped in 2 garbage bags, in a kneeling position. Jessie's hands were bound as if in prayer. She was clutching her purple dolphin.
She'd laid in that ground for 2.5 weeks. When they pulled her out of the ground, her little fingers were poking through the bag. He was so gutless that he put her in the ground alive.
When they found her, everything in you left. All you could think of was, why? Don't know.
It is my responsibility to have brought Jessica home. It is not the way I wanted to bring her home.
The stories that he told us was unbelievably shocking of what he did and what he said that he did.
The medical examiner says Jessica was alive only a few hours after she was abducted and raped. Investigators believe the piece of dirt recovered from Jesse's pillow more than likely came from Cooey's gloves, which indicates to the FBI Cooey probably dug Jesse's grave before he kidnapped her.
It all happened within 1 or 2, 3 hours at the most, before the light came up that day, before she was ever discovered missing. I believe she was in that grave.
Forensic evidence found in Cooey's trailer clears all suspicion from the suffering Lunsford family.
The result of these kind of investigations can be devastating on a family.
The burden now falls on the state attorney, Pete Magrino, to give Jessica some justice.
It was one of those cases that you want to make sure you do everything that can be done to see that the individual pays the ultimate price for what they did to that victim.
Pete Magrino wraps up his case with a powerful closing, featuring a purple dolphin. Magrino uses the dolphin to represent Jessica and the horror of her death.
Putting that in one garbage bag, to demonstrate how Jessica was in it, then taking the other garbage bag.
He puts everything in a trash bag while he's telling the jury what this guy did to this little girl. Tied this trash bag shut and buried her in the ground. And it was very, very powerful.
The jury agrees and convicts John Cooey of first-degree murder. The judge sentences him to death.
That was the biggest relief I had during all of it, was the day that they said, you're going to be put to death, plain as you can be. And I thought, yes.
John Cooey dies 2 years later in prison.
John Cooey never made it to the gas chamber, but he died in prison, and he died a horrible death. And that's karma.
Since the tragedy of his daughter's murder, Mark Lunsford spearheaded Jesse's Law, a closer monitoring of sex offenders. 46 states have adopted some form of Jesse's Law.
It was more designed for the pedophiles and the predators, the sex offenders that have already committed these crimes so many damn times and still walking the streets. Now there's a law that says we can put you away for the rest of your life.
It's not always watching your children closer. We watched ours. She didn't go off nowhere. She rode a bicycle up and down this street.
Jesse's death left a lasting impression on everyone who worked to find her, especially for Agent Bolin and his feelings for Ruth Lunsford.
Ruth. I recall very vividly getting down on my knees and telling her that I was sorry. Not just for what happened to Jessica, but for what I had told her about her own family. And she looked at me and she said, son, you're just doing your job. She goes, I love you now just like I loved you then, and you don't have to worry about a thing.
I'm glad that God let us have her for what time that we did. I'm glad that I was her caregiver. I'm glad that she had such a good relationship with her daddy. But she's at rest right now. She knows no harm. There was a band of angels that came and gathered around Jessie and took her home. She didn't know any of that pain. That is what I've always believed.